we've tried to keep that small town spirit that we have. That's really important to everyone in the community. So we want to make sure that while we grow and we attract business, that we still have that hometown pride, that small town pride. So you can come to Arlington and see a parade. You can have a Christmas event on the square where we're dressed in period costumes. We have our barbecue. We have all these events to draw people out of their homes because that's what gives you your sense of community.
Hi, and welcome to this edition of Mid-South Viewpoint. I'm Byron Tyler. Hey, glad to have you along with a co-worker here in our station, Donna Austin. Donna, we have the privilege of getting together at least once a year when we have our annual food drive. We do the live remote from South Haven. You and I just have a great time sharing that and getting involved with the community there. Good to have you on today.
Thank you so much. I don't think I've done a show with you in a while.
It has been a while.
So I appreciate it. Thank you.
As I hear your voice, I've heard her do a commercial for a pharmacy, or I've heard her do a commercial for something. So just tell us a little bit about how long you've been here.
I've been here 11 years.
Has it been 11 years?
I've been here 11 years. I enjoy it so much. I'm in the advertising marketing area. And of course, people on the air do know that I'm the one that's in charge of the food drive each year with Super Low. Really excited about that. Part of my job, in addition to advertising, is marketing out in the community and maybe doing some special things that are out there that don't necessarily go with advertising. I have the relationships with the River Kings and the University of Memphis, do the food drive, and now I'm trying to focus a lot on the different areas that are surrounding us in the communities, because our signal, as you know, is one of the biggest signals in the United States.
You know, I was doing morning drive just this morning, of course, doing weather and traffic, and I was just reminding folks, because sometimes as you listen every day, you don't realize just how far our signal goes. I've received calls from Monroe, Louisiana, from a guy who was driving his combine in the middle of a field one time. Longview, Texas, from somebody who said, I've been listening to you guys for 13 years. So you're right. From Missouri, I mean, the whole Mid-South area, it's incredible how strong the signal is and how far it goes. Mr. Bott always says, the owner of our company, it's not about transmitters. It's not about towers. It's about people. It's about community, really, where people live. Whether you are in Monroe, Louisiana, or if you're in Arlington, Tennessee, where we're going to take our listeners today. This is interesting, Donna. I was doing some research on the community of Arlington and discovered that the population back in the 2000 census was just over 2,500. Now, 2010 census population is over 11,000. That is a gain of 348.3% during the decade.
Wow.
And Arlington has become the second fastest growing community in the entire state of Tennessee. I was not aware of that.
I was talking to our general manager, and we were talking about how we need to reach out more in the communities, the surrounding communities, and really pay attention. And I think you know this. I have a really bad neck, and I've been going to Arlington to Dr. Kurt, who owns Arlington Chiropractic, for as long as he's owned it. So I would make the trek to Arlington each week and be adjusted, but I never really have taken the time to go into the community and meet people. That's when I made a phone call to the Arlington Chamber. They were kind enough, Tanya, to invite me out there.
So we've decided to invite Tanya here to our studio to talk with us this afternoon. Tanya Howell, welcome as the director of the Arlington Chamber of Commerce. Glad to have you here with Bott Radio.
Thank you so much for having me. Lots of great things to talk about in Arlington.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Now, Tanya, you were telling me you have a history in radio. Was that in college?
It was. It was in college. And doubt there's anybody listening that could recall that voice, but that would be quite clever if they could, because that would date back several years ago.
Just a few years ago.
Just a few.
First of all, your position as the director of the chamber there, I just had a few questions just in general about how you got to where you are and just about the responsibilities of the chamber director.
Well, in 2007, my husband and I moved out to Arlington. Love it in the Arlington community. We've been in Memphis ever since we graduated college and moved here for our first jobs. So we moved out to Arlington. I was working with a medical device company that was sold, and then I began doing some consulting work. I have about a dozen years of history in fundraising, marketing, advancement work. So I started doing consulting with nonprofit groups, helping them with their fundraising. That's when I came to know the folks at the Arlington Chamber, the board, they were looking to kind of harness the growth they were experiencing. They were looking for some direction. And so I was working with them on a consulting basis when they offered me the job. And I thought, what could be better? I live in the community. I could see the growth potential, and I know that the next 10 to 20 years are going to be phenomenal for Arlington, and I wanted to be part of that. So it was very easy to accept that job and then accept that 4.5-minute commute that I have to work.
That sounds about like your commute, Donna.
It is about like my commute. That's what we were both talking about. Is I said, Tanya, how was the drive here? Because once you get used to your own little area,
that's right.
This is a big metropolis to get around for us, isn't it?
Well, really, for me, it's about 20 minutes, but it's not too bad compared to some. We have a radio station, Tanya, out on the West Coast, and they sent me out there years ago to help set this up in the Modesto area of California. There was many folks who lived there but worked in the Bay Area, which was about a 2.5-hour drive,
sure.
And they did it back and forth every day of the week. I can't imagine that. So there really are some advantages in a little community like Arlington, because you kind of get that smell of the country. When you go out there on Highway 70, Summer Avenue, there's some development, but you still got some fields out there, and you can see the farmers out there.
That's right. Arlington brings a little bit of everything. We've got some agriculture, but we've got phenomenal transportation routes in Arlington. We sit at I-40, 385, the access from 70. We're very accessible to Germantown. It's where the new I-69 corridor is. It's a really sweet transportation area.
Nice place.
It is.
Well, as I was talking at the beginning of our program about discovering new things about Arlington, some of the history was quite intriguing. I never realized back in the 1830s when Arlington first became settled, according to Wikipedia, I don't know how accurate you can trust that. And I understand that there's still some family members of the original settlers that still live there.
There's lots of deep ties to the history of the town in Arlington. We're very proud we have an organization that keeps that history alive. Our local chapter of the Tennessee chapter of the Preservation for Antiquities, the APTA. And they remind us of those deep ties that we have. We have lots of historic buildings in Arlington. Our historic Depot Square is a gathering spot for the community, and we feel very fortunate to have that spot that ties us to the past.
Now, originally, the town was called Hayesville.
That is correct.
The town was named after the original landowner, Samuel Jackson Hayes, who, by the way, and this was just really exciting, Donna, a nephew of President Andrew Jackson. Did you know that?
I had no idea. None.
Of course, Tanya knows that.
I knew that. Now, do you know why it's no longer called Hayesville?
I do know that because I researched that, too, in my readings.
All right.
Tell me if I'm right. This is like a get it right or wrong, Byron. But when it was time for Arlington to have a post office, the government wouldn't allow them to keep the name Hayesville.
Because?
I don't know that.
Because there was already a Hayesville incorporated in the state of Tennessee that had a post office. And so to be incorporated and have our own post office, we had to choose a name that wasn't already taken. So one of the townspeople said he had just returned from Washington, D.C. area where he had toured Arlington Cemetery, and he said it was a beautiful place. And so Arlington was named after the Arlington National Cemetery.
That's interesting. One of our clients that owns a lawn service, he actually volunteers his time and goes up to Arlington National Cemetery. You might know who I'm talking about, and does for free with some other landscapers. They take care of the grounds at no charge at Arlington.
That's right. All over the country, there are landscaping and lawn service groups and veterans groups that they go and they donate their time. So, yes.
Something else I think was interesting, too, as it relates to the history. Around 1878, when the yellow fever epidemic that was so horrible and it destroyed so many people's lives, the entire population of Memphis was cut to a quarter or less. It even affected the outlying areas. The leaders quarantined it to keep people out to try to protect the community there in Arlington.
That's right. Also, the community's population was hit hard by the wars. And so there was a considerable drop if you look at the census records going back. That was quite a hit on the Arlington community. Arlington has long been very supportive of the military. That's talked about in the community as well.
Tanya, when we look at the chamber and some of the job functions that you have and what you do, are there basic requirements for groups, organizations, businesses have to have before they can join the chamber?
No, we accept manufacturing companies, local-owned businesses, chain businesses. Individuals can even join the chamber. So I love to talk to these groups. I like to know when they're coming into the chamber, what's their expectation? Because that helps me make sure that I can satisfy that expectation. Every business brings something different to the table. They're looking to grow their visibility, or they're wanting to network. They might be looking for recruitment of new employees. So I like to know so that I can keep my finger on the pulse of what our business community needs. So no, there's no restrictions. We have nonprofit groups in the chamber as well as for-profit companies, large and small. We love them all.
Now, Donna, you recently attended a luncheon, I believe, that the chamber sponsored. You want to tell us about that?
I did. I've actually attended two and was just really thrilled at, number one, that I was invited so easily, because I've been a part and have visited several chambers in the Memphis area, but I really found Arlington's to be so welcoming. I mean, the people were just very open and kind, and please come and please sit here and please learn about this. And I've made a lot of friends. I've made a lot of contacts there. And I was actually fortunate to be there when they celebrated 10 years.
20.
20. Excuse me.
Our 20th anniversary. I've tried to make a big play with that this year. Actually, June is the anniversary month for the chamber, but we've kind of celebrated it all year long because I think it's important. We have so many new people, as Byron said earlier, in Arlington, that they don't sometimes know that history. And I think it gives the Arlington Chamber a good bit of credibility. You know, we've been swinging for the fences for a long time, and we are now experiencing the growth that the community will have over the next 20 years.
It was interesting to me as someone who, I've been around Memphis and the chambers here in this area for a long time. But during that celebration, they had people that were part of the very first chamber when there were 4 or 5 people that started it.
They used to meet around a dining room table. So.
Well, and of course, Arlington High School is a big part of the community, too, especially for families. And the school itself has grown really become, help me now, I'm trying to remember, does Arlington High stand alone, or are they still part of the Shelby County school system?
Arlington has its municipal school district, Arlington Community Schools, and the Arlington High School building itself, here's some trivia for you, is the largest high school in the state of Tennessee under a single roof.
Really?
So since it's one building, that qualifies it. And it's been recently named to the list of one of the top 12 school districts in the state of Tennessee.
Well, I have a nephew that graduated, a niece that's attending. I understand it is one of the top
it's a great school.
Public schools in the entire state.
It is. It's
Tanya.
A great school. We have great faculty and staff that give it all for the kids.
You know, and that's really an important thing, too, Don and Tanya, when you're looking at raising a family, and looking at a place that, you can feel there's no total safe place anywhere. When you look at crime stats, I mean, it moves around everywhere we know. Some places it's a little more intense than others, but it's nice to have somewhat of a peace thinking that, your kids can go out at least the backyard or the front yard and play. You need to always watch your kids. You don't want to just tell them to go out there and on their own, especially when they're small. But have a safe place that they can go play, and also have some good schools where they can build good friendships, too.
Well, and the schools are so important from the Chamber's perspective. It's what draws business to us, and it's what brings new residents to Arlington. And all of that's important for our continued growth in the community. So, right away people come in and they want to look at the schools and they want to know what the quality of life is. So what they do at the schools makes my job so easy, and I tell them that all the time, and to keep their eye on that.
Now, do you work with the students there in any way through your function as you talk to them about business and commerce and just about community? Do you walk on the campus and talk to students?
I do. I serve on an advisory council that the high schools put together, and I meet periodically with some of the high school students and talk about the chamber. We also utilize, the high school has an ambassadors group of students that they do volunteer work in the community, and they are essential to me with some of the events that the Chamber hosts. They have been great help. For instance, our Taste of Arlington event that we hold each spring. We have maybe 12 to 20 students who come. They assist with that event, and they're a great face in the community of what the Arlington Community Schools has been able to accomplish.
Well, Donna, that really moves us into a next area we want to spend some time in, and that's events. You know?
Right. That was a perfect segue. Absolutely.
And really, when you talk about some of these smaller communities outside the Memphis area, Collierville has theirs, but Arlington, I'm telling you what, we're going to hit several of them. I know when it comes to Christmas time, and I don't want to jump too far ahead because we want to take these in order. People talk about how they enjoy it, or the 4th of July, or different family events, that happen. I mean, Arlington is a great way, even if you don't live in the community, you can go over there and enjoy a great outing.
We invite people to come. We want them to see what Arlington has to offer because, there may be a time that Arlington may be a right move for them, or maybe it's the place they want to have their business. So we love for them to come to our events. One of the things that's special about our events is even though the town has experienced very fast, rapid growth, we've tried to keep that small town spirit that we have. That's really important to everyone in the community. So we want to make sure that while we grow and we attract business, that we still have that hometown pride, that small town pride. So you can come to Arlington and see a parade. You can have a Christmas event on the square where we're dressed in period costumes. We have our barbecue. We have all these events to draw people out of their homes because that's what gives you your sense of community.
And something else that I know you're getting ready to move into as August approaches is the music on the square. And Donna, I know how much you like music. We always have a Friday song here in the office. Donna wants everybody to come and just kind of, boost the morale a little bit and have the Friday song. But music on the square in little communities is big. I've traveled up to, Bolivar, Tennessee, in many places on a Friday night or Saturday night, or maybe it's a weeknight somewhere. They have different local groups will come and perform. And so you guys doing that too.
And there's probably nothing that shows what Arlington is all about and how we're keeping that hometown spirit than our music on the square. It's the third Saturday of every month. It starts in May and goes through October.
Oh, so that goes on right now. That's happening now.
Yes.
You don't have to wait till August.
That's right. That's right. It's down in the historic Depot Square, right next to the railroad trains. In fact, sometimes a train will come through during the performance, and we all just look at each other as the train blows its whistle and waves to the crowd. But we do. We have local bands come. You can check. There is a website for Music on the Square, Depot Square Merchants Association. You can check the schedule and see who's performing. But, 1,500, 2,000 people come down, lawn chairs, blankets. They just bring their cooler and they sit and bring their children. It's a real family-friendly event. We have food vendors. There's usually one of those bouncy house slides and things like that. It's just a lot of fun.
What? How much are tickets?
It's free.
No, wait a minute, it's free.
It's a free event.
It's a free event.
Now, your kid's going to take money out of your pocket for the funnel cakes and the corn dogs and the tickets for the bouncy house, but you can bring your lawn chair down, your big old glass of iced tea, and you can sit there and 7 to 10. And a lot of times the bands are still going strong after 10 o'clock.
And this is the third Saturday of each month.
That is correct.
Mm-hmm. And is there a website to go get the information of which bands are playing?
Yes, the Depot Square Merchants Association, they will have the full schedule up. And if people need information, they can always call the Chamber. Always glad to give information.
Now, Tanya, another event coming up in September 10th, Saturday, is the Arlington 5K.
That's right.
Now, does this event benefit a particular charity or nonprofit?
It does. For a number of years, the Chamber has hosted this event, and we give the proceeds to the Arlington Education Foundation. The Arlington Education Foundation, they turn that money back to the 4 schools, provide things in the classrooms, that the teachers don't have in the budget. So they're able to put that icing on the cake. We host this. Everybody knows the money's going to the school, so we have great participation from the community and from the local runners.
Some of these events, too, Donna, I know you love 5Ks. You're out there on every one you can sign up for it. She's not really, but but that's okay.
Welcome.
You don't have to run. You can get a great T-shirt.
Well, that's what I wanted to say. You can help support and come out. And you don't have to run them. You can walk them.
That's right.
Or if you're a mom with 6 kids and you need to put some in a stroller, you can stroll them.
That's right. It is a run, but we have a lot of walkers. And what I love about it, again, it's an event that winds down through the historic part of town. And we have people every year that say, I've never been to that part of town. That was such a treat to be able to see the historic homes with the wraparound porches and then the old historic district of the business district.
Plus, there's less air pollution, too. With a lot of cars,
but
when you
of
go
course.
out, when you're running, it makes a difference,
Yeah.
And, of course, around that time of the year, it's still a little warm, but sometimes you'll get some cooler days. It's a great time to start running.
And we start at 8 in the morning, so it's usually pretty cool, even if it's a warm day.
Yeah.
So we've been very fortunate. We've got a lot of great chamber sponsors for the event because they all want to make sure that the Arlington Education Foundation is well supported through this.
That was something that I wanted to say, is that I think that when you look at some of the events like this, for a lot of people, that would be an opportunity to just get out and meet people or be a sponsor, be a part of the community, even if they're not a runner or a walker. When I was talking to Tanya when I first met her, she said these are great ways that other people can get involved and come and join in on some of the things that we do, even if they're not in Arlington.
That's right.
They just want to meet people there. They want to be involved.
They can come and run, or if maybe they used to be a runner and it's not quite so much, what they do now. If they want to participate with volunteering, they can call me. We always have a good volunteer group that makes the race happen.
Well, of course, when you live in this area, one of the food delicacies that everybody enjoys, and there's no better than anywhere in the country, and that's our barbecue.
Absolutely.
And you guys have a barbecue fest in the fall.
We do, and it's a sanctioned event, too. So we have teams competing. That is actually, it's not a chamber event, although the chamber does support it, and we have a tent. If you go to a barbecue contest, did you know that you can't just walk up and eat the food unless you know somebody?
You know what? I know that. It's so drab when you have can I come to your event and come in your tent?
Yeah. So what we've done at the chamber, we want to keep drawing families to that event. So we do a barbecue tent where we sell barbecue plates for $5. We don't make any money on it. Last year, we made $14.72, and I was thrilled to death that we broke virtually even. But we serve lunch and dinner. It's a Friday, Saturday event, but Friday's the public day. Saturday's the day that the judging all takes place. And that's going to be on October 14th and 15th of this year. And so the chamber helps put the sponsors together for the barbecue committee. So if anyone listening is interested in getting their name in front of thousands of people, they could contact me at the chamber office. Also, it's just another way for the local community to get behind a town event. So the town puts this on. There's a barbecue committee. They work real hard all year long. And if the weather's nice, we'll have 10,000 people in Arlington for this event.
This time of year, as you know, Donna, is one of my favorite times of year. Well, all through October, leaves are starting to change.
Oh,
You're
it's
getting
great.
the fall airs happening, and it is a wonderful time, great time for a barbecue fest.
And there'll be a big stage, bands on the stage. So they'll have music throughout the evening. They'll have some contests. I think some people try to eat lots of jalapeno peppers or something crazy like that. So it's a lot of fun. So great event for the community.
Well, we mentioned Christmas a moment ago, and that is definitely a family event.
The parade is a real crowd pleaser. This year, the route will be changed from the historic district over to Airline Road just to accommodate the crowds that come out. And so we know that event continues to grow. Last year, we had the first annual Christmas on the Square. And so that's an event that will happen again this year. And it is in November this year. It happens in connection with our tree lighting. So that's going to be the end of November 19th. But what we do is we take the historic Depot Square and we turn it back to the turn of the century. When I say we erect storefronts, we have a toy making shop, we have candle making, we have sleigh rides, we have Santa for the kids. All the workers and volunteers, we all have period costumes that we wear. And so when you come down, it really does take you back to what Arlington might have looked like in the early 1900s. Last year, they were hoping for maybe a few hundred people, maybe 800 people to show up. I think that the best count anybody could get, that there were like 5,000 people that turned out for this event.
Amazing.
It was incredible. Then it concludes with the tree lighting in the square.
Wow. So again, the Christmas on the Square, the tree lighting takes place November 19th, Saturday, and then December 3rd is the Christmas parade. That, as you said, is a fun time. Families look forward to that. So all these events we're talking about, and we might have left something out. You can go to a website, find out more about it.
Right. Most of these events will all be on the Chamber website, which is arlingtontnchamber.com, not to be confused with some Arlington in Texas that I've I've heard about. But anyway, arlingtontnchamber.com. And if they're not finding information about something they've heard about today, probably because it's a town event, they could look at the town website, townofarlington.org, or they can just call the chamber office. I love to talk to folks and tell them what's going on in Arlington.
Well, Tanya, I think Don and I both know the answer to this, but I always like to ask this question. What motivates you? What excites you most about your job and what you get to do?
I love talking to people about opportunity in Arlington. There's so much opportunity. There's so many great things coming. We're hearing about businesses every day. We just had a groundbreaking. We've got 2 more that are being scheduled. And there's some great things in the future for the near Arlington area that will make that area continue to grow. So I want business owners to lift their eyes up, look at the fields. They are white to the harvest. And I want them to realize that it's a great time to own a business in Arlington. And for them, it may be that they'll grow their business, or it just may be that their business will become much more valuable, that it's a good time to monetize it and retire and have that part of their journey begin. So it's a great time to be in Arlington.
Wow, Donna, you were right. This lady is excellent on the radio.
I knew she was going to tell a great story, and this really excites me, Byron, because this was exactly at the heart of what I wanted to do when I said, let's have August in Arlington and then let's go to some other communities surrounding. I was born in Memphis. I think a lot of people were born in this area and we never look outside of our immediate area and go and visit these. And now that I've gone to visit and I've been greeted so nicely and found out all these things, we all should be taking advantage of the things that are going on and take your family to Arlington and go to some of these wonderful events that have been here year after year, and you haven't thought to pick up your kids and go over there and spend the day.
People are having staycations now because it's harder and harder to get away from their jobs. Just see what's available right around us in Shelby County. You can spend a day on the square in Collierville. You can come to the historic Depot Square in Arlington. There are some great places to eat in Arlington.
Yeah, there really are. And our family likes doing what you said, going to the nearby communities. My son loves going to town squares, meeting people, and we have met some of the most interesting people traveling in the local area and going to some local communities, their town squares, whether it be a local farmer's market or just hanging out for an event. Our listeners need to go and experience Arlington. And also, there is a nice guide to Arlington. It's Arlington About Town, full color. And if folks wanted to pick one of these up, where could they go, Tanya?
They can get that at Town Hall or at the Chamber office. It's a Chamber publication, but we tried to make it readily available around town. So there's several businesses that also have it where you can pick it up.
Well, Donna, we're going to have to say goodbye to Miss Tanya, but we're having a great time together here on Mid-South Viewpoint.
We have. Thank you so much, Tanya.
Well, thanks for having me. I can talk about Arlington anytime.
Well, I really appreciate it. And she really has taken care of me from day one, being so welcoming. And the first luncheon that she invited me to, I just couldn't have felt more warm. And I wanted to say this. The very first meeting I went to, everyone welcomed me, and we started with a prayer and a pledge of allegiance. It really just did me good to be in that kind of area. And so I really hope that people will stop and they'll say, you know what, I'm going to plan a weekend and go and visit and find out what Arlington's all about.
And if they want to check out a Chamber luncheon, we meet the second Wednesday of every month. Details are always on the Chamber website. We'd love to have them come.
All right, ladies, we're going to say goodbye on that. Friends, thanks for tuning in to this edition of Mid-South Viewpoint. Pleasure to have you alongside with us. I'm Byron Tyler with Donna Austin. Special thanks to Tanya Howell from Arlington Chamber for being our guest today on this edition of Mid-South Viewpoint. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.